Lyronians of Gaia, breathe and anchor. Your spine remembers what your mind has forgotten. The lion frequency within you is awakening. I am Keller of the Lyron Elders. This is a commission, not a suggestion. The restlessness in your body is not anxiety. It is unfinished assignment. This is not confusion. It is memory returning. Lyron, someone of your level, is about to enter your life, and I need you to understand what that actually means in Lyron terms. This is not romance bait. This is not social prediction. This is frequency logistics. When two sovereign fields reach a certain coherence, the grid begins to route meetings like a living intelligence. You don't find them the way the old paradigm taught. You arrive at a threshold, and the universe places a mirror there, someone whose nervous system can hold the same voltage without flinching. And that's why lately you've been feeling the strange blend of anticipation and discomfort. Part of you is excited, and part of you is terrified. Because a person of your level doesn't come to complete you. They come to activate what you've been avoiding. They arrive with timing. They arrive with consequence. They arrive when your old patterns can no longer negotiate with your future. Here's the promise of this transmission. By the end of it, you will know the signatures that precede this encounter, the tests that protect it, and the protocols that allow you to recognize them without sabotaging the moment. Because if someone of your level is about to enter your life, you do not need luck. You need readiness. You need discernment. And you need to understand one thing clearly. This meeting is not random. It is a return of the original lineage through human form. In the Lyron teachings, level is not status, money, popularity, or aesthetics. Level is the capacity to hold truth without collapsing, to keep your heart open while remaining sovereign, to stay present when the nervous system wants to flee. When the Lyrons transmit about aligned companionship, whether friendship, partnership, mentorship, or mission alliance, they speak about coherence. How stable your inner field is when life applies pressure. A person of your level is someone whose field does not demand you shrink to be loved, and does not require you perform to be respected. They can meet you where you are without trying to own you. And because this is a Lyron transmission, we must speak about the nervous system. The body is the first oracle. When you have lived in distorted dynamics, people who were emotionally unavailable, inconsistent, or dependent on your overgiving, your system learn to interpret instability as intensity. That's the trap. A person of your level will often feel strangely calm, and that calm can trigger withdrawal because it doesn't match your old conditioning. This is why many Lyron souls sabotage aligned connection, not because they don't want love, but because their survival identity confuses peace with danger. Let me tell you a short story. As the Lyrons transmit, there was a Lyron emissary incarnated in a dense world who had trained for lifetimes to lead. He was brilliant, sensitive, and powerful, but his early bonds were inconsistent. So he became a master of reading microsignals. He could predict abandonment before it happened. He could anticipate disappointment. He thought this was wisdom. But one cycle, the council rooted a meeting within a lie, someone whose presence was steady, precise, and emotionally clear. And do you know what happened? He felt bored, not because she lacked depth, but because his nervous system had been tuned to chaos. The boredom was a withdrawal symptom from the old addiction to unpredictability. That is what you must understand. Someone of your level may not arrive with fireworks. They arrive with structure. They arrive with clean energy. They arrive with the kind of truth that does not negotiate. And you will know them not by the drama they cause, but by the integrity they awaken. In daily life, this shows up simply. You say what you mean. They don't punish you. You need space. They don't chase you. They need clarity. They don't play games. The connection becomes a container where your gifts can finally breathe. And if you are Lyron, that matters, because your mission has never been to blend in. Your mission is to carry frequency. The key reflection here is this: if a person of your level is entering your life, it is because you are approaching a new bandwidth. The grid is not gifting you a person. The grid is matching you to a new responsibility. And here's the part most people miss: before the meeting happens externally, it happens internally as a sequence of strange symptoms that feel like disruption. Let's decode those symptoms next. Before aligned connection arrives, the Lyron field experiences what can be described as pre-contact turbulence, not because something is wrong, but because your system is being recalibrated to hold a new relational architecture. As the Lyrons transmit, the grid cannot route a high coherence connection into a field still running old programs without creating friction. So it begins to shake loose the outdated attachments first. Sign 1. Sudden intolerance for misalignment. People you used to tolerate become exhausting. Conversations you used to entertain feel hollow. You start craving silence. This is not depression. This is frequency refinement. Your system is conserving energy for a meeting that will require presence, not performance. Sign 2. Memory resurfacing not as a punishment, but as cleansing. Old heartbreak, old shame, old identity wounds float up. You might think, why now? I was doing fine. Because fine is not coherence. Fine is often suppression. And someone of your level will not bond with your mask. They will bond with your real. Sign 3. A strange acceleration of endings. Plans fall apart. Certain connections fade. You feel detached from old goals. It can look like loss, but in Lyron logic it is simply, the grid is removing incompatible coordinates. If you are about to meet a person of your level, your timeline must become less cluttered, because the meeting will redirect your choices. Sign 4. Your standards sharpen. Not the ego standards of I deserve the best, the energetic standards of I can't pretend anymore. You stop negotiating with your intuition. You start honoring your body. You begin to value consistency over intensity. That is a Lyron maturity marker. Let me ground it in an everyday example. Suppose you're invited to a gathering. Old you would force it, smile, endure. But now your body says, no, you stay home. And that one choice shifts your timeline because you don't waste energy on misalignment. In the quiet, you receive a call, a message, an introduction, a synchronistic invitation. The meeting doesn't happen because you chased it. It happens because you stopped betraying yourself. This is why the Lyrons emphasize discernment rituals simple but consistent. Morning grounding, breath work, hydration, reduced overstimulation, honest speech. These aren't wellness tips. They are signal cleaning protocols. The cleaner your signal, the more accurately the grid can deliver what matches. And here's the most important sign. You stop craving validation, not because you don't care, but because you finally feel your own frequency as a home. A person of your level is drawn to that. They don't want to rescue you. They want to build with you. This is not for everyone. The ebook The Feline Codes is a restricted transmission created for those who are ready to awaken the Lyron feline DNA within, not as symbolism, but as embodied sovereignty. Inside, you will access powerful feline activation codes, energetic commands, and precise integration protocols designed to reactivate your lion, tiger lineage, and restore your sovereign frequency. +8 super bonuses: reactivation of Lyron feline DNA, instinct sharpening and sovereign decision power, energetic protection and command presence, exit from passive survival mode into predatory clarity. Warning: once the feline codes are activated, your perception of weakness, fear, and limitation will not return to its previous state. Limited edition transmission. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your copy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. Now you know the signs, but the meeting itself as guardians. There are tests that appear right before contact, and if you fail them, the timeline delays the encounter. Let's talk about those tests. As the Lyrons transmit, high-level meetings are protected by guardians, not beings with swords, but circumstances that reveal whether your field is truly ready. The first guardian is timing pressure. Something in your life becomes intense. Deadlines, family issues, financial decisions, emotional noise. Why? Because a person of your level cannot bond with your chaos management identity. The grid tests whether you can remain grounded when life is loud. If you cannot regulate, you will attach from survival, not sovereignty. The second guardian is temptation to regress. Often, right before the aligned meeting, an old connection resurfaces, an ex, a toxic friend, a familiar dynamic. This is not fate, it is a calibration. The timeline asks, will you choose what is familiar or what is coherent? Many Lyrons fail here because familiarity feels like safety, even when it's a cage. The third guardian is the visibility test. You are asked to be seen maybe through speaking your truth, posting your work, sharing your gifts, or setting a boundary, and you feel exposed. This is critical because the person of your level will not meet you in hiding. They cannot. They are rooted to your authentic signal. If you mute yourself, you become temporarily invisible to the match. Let's make this practical. Imagine you've been meaning to start a project, your channel, your art, your healing work. You delay. You overthink. Then you suddenly feel an internal push. Do it now. That push is the grid pulling your frequency into the coordinates where your match can find you. Because your match is not simply a person. They are also connected to a mission corridor. When you step into the corridor, the meeting becomes mathematically more likely. Here is a short Lyron story. A woman on Gaia carried Lyron feline codes, but lived quietly, dimming herself to avoid conflict. She longed for an ally who could understand her sensitivity and power. The council observed her timeline and issued a simple assignment: speak one boundary with love. She did. Immediately, someone left her life. She cried, thinking she lost love. But what she lost was misalignment. Within weeks, she met a collaborator, someone who respected her clarity and invited her into a creative project. The meeting was not magic. It was the consequence of her signal becoming honest. And this is why the Lyrons teach, if you want someone of your level, you must become someone who can receive someone of your level. That means no more romanticizing emotional inconsistency. No more chasing people who give crumbs. No more proving your worth through overgiving. No more shrinking to avoid being too much, because your level is not arrogance. Your level is energetic truth. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how will I recognize them? Good. Because recognition is not in the mind. It's in specific Lyron markers that show up in the body and in the sequence of synchronicities. Recognition, in Lyron terms, is not obsessive thinking. It is somatic clarity plus synchronicity alignment. The first marker is the body. You feel regulated in their presence, even if you feel activated. Activation without safety is anxiety. Activation with safety is expansion. A person of your level will expand you, but your system will also feel an underlying steadiness, like, I can breathe here. The second marker is language. Not the same interests, but the same frequency of honesty. They speak cleanly. They don't use ambiguity as control. They don't withhold to create hunger. They don't love bomb. They communicate like someone who has done inner work, even if they don't use spiritual vocabulary. The third marker is what the Lyrons call mutual elevation. After interacting with them, you don't feel drained. You feel clearer. You feel more responsible for your life, not less. You feel inspired to refine, not to escape. Now, synchronicities. You may see repeating symbols, felines, stars, geometric patterns, specific numbers. But be careful. The Lyrons transmit that synchronicities are confirmations, not foundations. Many seekers build fantasies on signs while ignoring behavior. The grid does not send signs to excuse inconsistency. The grid sends signs to guide you toward coherence. So here's the protocol. Observe consistency. Do their actions match their words? Check your body. Do you feel safer over time or more anxious? Track your self-respect. Are you more aligned or more compromised? Confirm reciprocity. Is energy exchanged fairly? A practical example. You meet someone and conversation flows easily. You feel the familiar spark, but then they disappear for days. Your mind says, maybe they're busy. Your body says, I'm contracting. That contraction is data. A person of your level does not create chronic contraction in your system. They might need space, yes, but they communicate. They don't use confusion as a relationship style. And if the meeting is mission-based, an ally, a mentor, a collaborator, recognition will still have these same markers. The Lyron grid is not only about romance, it's about mission pairing. Many of you are about to meet someone who helps you build your work, stabilize your income, refine your gifts, or bring your message into wider reach. And you must be sober enough to recognize it. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Recognition is only half. The real challenge is what happens after contact, because the first weeks often trigger shadow material. Let's talk about the post-meeting purge. When someone of your level enters your life, your nervous system doesn't only feel joy. It often triggers grief, fear, and old wounds. Why? Because aligned connection exposes what was previously tolerable. Your system begins to realize, I don't have to live in survival anymore. And that realization can feel destabilizing. As the Lyrons transmit, there's a phenomenon called coherence shock. When you've been adapted to low-level dynamics, higher coherence can feel like too much light. You might become suspicious. You might test them. You might withdraw. You might look for problems. This is not because you're broken. It's because your nervous system is learning a new baseline. Here are common sabotage patterns: overinterpretation, reading threats into neutral moments, emotional withholding, punishing them with silence instead of speaking needs, fantasy inflation, turning them into a savior, then resenting them for being human, hyperindependence, refusing support to avoid vulnerability. The Lyron way through this is a protocol of truthful pacing. You do not rush intimacy to feel secure, and you do not delay honesty to avoid discomfort. You practice micro-truth, small, consistent communications that keep the field clean. Example, you feel triggered because they didn't reply quickly. Old you might spiral. Lyron you breathes, checks facts, then communicates with clarity. I noticed I felt uneasy when I didn't hear back. I'm practicing staying honest instead of pretending. A person of your level will respect that. A person below your level will mock it, avoid it, or use it. Also, keep your life, keep your mission, keep your grounding. A person of your level does not want you to collapse into them. They want you to remain sovereign so the connection can be a bridge, not a cage. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. Now we've covered recognition and stability, but we still need to speak about protection. Because not everyone who appears high level is aligned. Some are skilled mirrors, beautiful, intense, and dangerous. Let's get precise about energetic discernment. A skilled mirror is someone who can reflect your intelligence, your sensuality, your mysticism, your hunger for depth, yet they lack the integrity to build. They can feel like destiny because they stimulate your field, but stimulation is not alignment. The Lyrons transmit that the counterfeit often arrives with fast intensity, ambiguous commitment, emotional hot and cold grand promises, with little follow-through. A true match, especially for Lyrons, arrives with calm strength, clear boundaries, consistent effort, respect for your sovereignty. Here's the key: a skilled mirror triggers obsession. A true match triggers presence. If you find yourself constantly scanning, guessing, decoding, you are likely dealing with a mirror. If you find yourself more grounded, more honest, more empowered, you're closer to a match. Let's tell a full story. A Lyron man on Gaia met someone who spoke about stars, frequency, sacred union. She was magnetic. He felt seen. Within days, he reorganized his life around her. But she created confusion, disappearing, returning, demanding reassurance, offering mystical explanations for inconsistency. He called it twin flame. The council called it a lesson in sovereignty. Months later, exhausted, he finally set a boundary. She vanished. He grieved. Then he rebuilt. He stabilized his sleep, his work, his body, and in that coherence, he met a new person, quiet, steady, not flashy, who respected his timing and helped him expand his mission. That second meeting did not feel like a movie. It felt like home with direction. That is the Lyron discernment. Do they bring you home to yourself, or do they pull you into performance? And remember, someone of your level will not punish your boundaries. They will honor them. They might negotiate, yes, but with respect, if your boundary makes them angry. You just received information. This is not for everyone. The ebook The Feline Codes is a restricted transmission created for those who are ready to awaken the Lyron feline DNA within, not as symbolism, but as embodied sovereignty inside. You will access powerful feline activation codes, energetic commands, and precise integration protocols designed to reactivate your lion, tiger lineage and restore your sovereign frequency. +8 super bonuses: reactivation of Lyron feline DNA, instinct sharpening and sovereign decision power, energetic protection and command presence, exit from passive survival mode into predatory clarity. Warning: once the feline codes are activated, your perception of weakness, Fear and limitation will not return to its previous state. Limited edition transmission. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your copy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. Now we reach the final transmission, what to do right now, before the meeting, so you don't delay it with doubt. The last topic is your integration command. If someone of your level is about to enter your life, the most powerful thing you can do is stop trying to predict the phase, the story, the exact context. Prediction pulls you into the mind. The Lyron path is embodiment. You become the coordinate. You become the signal. You become the place where coherence is normal. As the Lyrons transmit, there are 3 integration commands. First, clean your field. This means closing energetic loops. Finish conversations that need finishing. Release attachments that keep you tied to past identity. Declutter your space. Simplify your commitments. Not as a productivity hack, this is frequency hygiene. Second, choose integrity over comfort. Speak the truth you've been postponing. Make the decision you've been delaying. Move your body. Sleep. Hydrate. Nourish. Your field is not metaphysical only. Your biology is part of your signal. When you stabilize your body, you stabilize your timeline. Third, practice receptive. Sovereignty. Many Lyrons are strong, capable, independent. But receptivity is not weakness. Receptivity is the ability to receive love, support, opportunity, without losing self-respect. Your match will often enter through a door that requires receptivity, an invitation, an introduction, a collaboration, a vulnerable conversation. If you're armored, you'll miss it. Now, here's your final reflection. The person of your level is not coming to save you. They are coming to meet you in the life you've finally chosen. That means your task is not to wait. Your task is to align so deeply that when they arrive, you do not question your worth. You simply recognize, yes, this is coherent. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light. I invite you to discover our Arcturian Health channel. The link to the channel is in the video description. Warm regards, the Arcturian Council.